Jack Frost, you are hereby charged with 273 counts of attempted upstaging of Santa Claus. You froze a volcano in Hawaii, you made it snow in the Amazon, and you frosted Mexico, sending all of the geese north for the winter. You have violated the legendary figure's code of conduct in a manner that is both willful and malicious.
Excuse me? Did you just accuse me of being skillful and delicious?
Merry Christmas and welcome to Home and Podcast. My name is Adam, and y'all are my co-host Jordan. We back, baby!
Oh, it feels so good to be quoting things with you, I guess.
Yeah, I miss quoting things with you so much.
That's the only thing I miss. Oh, no, truly. Right before you said I'm going to record, and I got chills. So, whew. It's the old routine. I don't know what we're going to mess up, but certainly some things. But we're here to... I mean, we really had no choice. We did Santa Claus 1. We did Santa Claus 2. Yeah. We're going to do Santa Claus 4 when it comes out, obviously. But in the between is the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause. And so that's what we're here to present.
Yes. We are here we're presenting it.
Yeah,
yes.
We're going to... You
How
know how
formal.
We're going to... We're going to say it line for line like that.
This is dinner theater, correct? Yeah, Jordan, it's good to be back. We haven't been away that long. It feels like a long time. When we stopped, I thought, oh, this is going to be so nice to have a break, and I'll just kind of write and do whatever. I definitely won't miss it. And I found that maybe after that first Friday had passed, the first Friday off was nice. I found the Friday after, I thought, well, I'd rather be podcasting. And I haven't really found great ways to fill my home improvement time, unfortunately. So, it just feels like a hole in my life, for the time being at least. I don't know if you've, had a similar feeling or
I
not.
gotta say, things were rushing into that hole very quickly. But I do miss it as well. It's most certainly not... It was a great way to cap off my week, and obviously a great outlet for us, and just lots of laughter. And I've called you a couple times. We've texted a couple times.
Yeah, I haven't been able to take those calls yet. I'm sorry.
Your mailbox is full.
Yeah, my phone does this weird thing where it rings one time and then you go to voicemail. I don't know.
Wow. And then you don't get my text either?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
It's weird that we somehow just got on the Hangouts at the same time and want to talk about the Santa Claus 3 without any coordination.
What do you call that? Kismet?
I suppose so. But no, I agree. Still don't have any way that we're going to go forward, but, we're looking for ideas someday. And
Jordan,
I know
we're not going forward, so everybody should just really enjoy the Santa Claus 3.
The audience is clamoring for it, Adam.
People were excited when I got on Twitter and posted, obviously, the iconic poster for the Santa Claus 3, Short, Allen, Battle of the Titans. We'll get into that relatively shortly. Happy holidays, as I say. I wish I were that clever. Happy holidays. It's, I'm looking out my window here at an apartment building across the street, and I'm seeing a lot of nicely lit Christmas trees, and it is feeling festive. I mentioned to you before we started recording, it's been quite warm in the Midwest, a lot of 40s, no snow to date, really, so it hasn't felt super Christmassy. Watching the Santa Claus 3 did kind of help get me in the mindset, so I thank you for that, Jordan.
Oh, like it was my...
You made the Santa Claus 3, right?
Oh, well, that explains its quality.
You're not Michael Lembeck, are you?
No, I am not. That's good. I mean, I've done a couple nights. My daughter and I have gone driving around in a couple of neighborhoods to see all the lights, and we have this little advent calendar that we've been doing. So, and then Disney. We went to Disney a couple times, and they're all decked out. So it's felt very, very Christmassy around here. And I guess when you don't expect the snow, it doesn't, it's not a downer when it doesn't come type of thing.
Right.
So I'm glad that this brought you into the Christmas spirit. No doubt after this episode, everyone listening and you will be full on in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, so, we're dropping this the 24th, so if you're not in the Christmas spirit by then, you ain't getting there, friendo.
It's going to be a little late to get there. Yeah. Hey, it's never too late,
Seeing is believing. Believing is seeing. I think that's a Santa Claus 2 mantra. I went back and listened to our Santa Claus 2 coverage. Long episode. We sure did take our time going through that. About 2 hours. Wouldn't expect that out of this one, frankly.
No. We won't be as diligent with our note-taking and whatnot. So
Cranksmith, I also listened to that. And, in my mind, I thought Santa Claus 2 was pretty horrible. Then I listened to us talk about it, and we said it was horrible the whole time. But then at the end, we both at the end we were kind of like, it's okay. So we'll see how we feel about this one.
Yeah, I remember thinking back that we kind of liked it. So it's interesting to hear that we were kind of throwing stones at it the whole time.
I remember thinking back that I didn't like it, but yeah. First time seeing Santa Claus.
Oh yeah, I thought I saw this. I went in expecting things that I've seen before, and then I was like, I've definitely not seen this movie. So
it's the first time for me as well.
That's always exciting. Question mark.
It is always exciting to watch a new movie. Yeah.
Well, I did watch this with my wife. Did you watch this with Kirsten?
I watched this with a 20-pack of Buffalo Wild Wings sitting in front of me. And let me tell you, I hadn't had Buffalo Wild Wings in a long time. It wasn't very good.
Yeah, I think my dad says that's his favorite restaurant, and I always ask why.
I had a gift card, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go home and get some Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, that's the only reason you're going in there. Gift card.
It wasn't very good. I don't know. It kind of made me feel sick. So,
can I tell you a funny Buffalo Wild Wings story?
Is a sponsor. Yeah, go ahead.
So we moved down here, and we got a couple of gift cards to places. One was for B-Dubs, and we went there. It was like the first week we moved down here. I was with my wife, and the waitress was very visibly hitting on me. It was so weird. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Kind of a humble brag story. But,
not really. Then we burned that place to the ground.
Oh, yeah. Did your wife, step up to her? She's like, excuse me, that's my man.
I mean, we're freshly married. Rings on, everything. It was very strange.
Yeah, you were a different looking man back then. Frankly.
Yeah, now I look a lot more like, St. Nick, I guess.
Michael Lembeck. Dead ringer. No one hit on me at the Buffalo Wild Wings.
Well, you brought it home. From the sounds of it,
I had to go in to pick it up, and I was like, "Is someone gonna flirt with me?" They didn't.
Well, if you linger there long enough, anyone's gonna hit on you.
I was there. I only stayed there a couple hours. I should have stayed there 5 or 6. It would have happened. I don't know. With COVID, I just didn't want to be inside that long. But...
All right. Well, what's the plan here, Adam? You are the master of ceremonies.
Indeed, I am for this presentation. I think usually we go through background and stuff. You do your little spiel on the background, runtime, stuff like that. Background.
Don't degrade me.
And I kind of weigh in and give you my thoughts, and then we do some taglines.
All right. Well, I guess we should do that then.
Let's do it.
The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, directed by who? Michael Lembeck.
He's one of the greats.
One of the greats. 67 credits to his name. Before I get to some of the stuff that he's directed, this is kind of an interesting nugget about Michael Lembeck. He graduated from Beverly Hills High School in 1966, and his classmates in a drama course included Rob Reiner, Albert Brooks, and Richard Dreyfuss.
I tell you what, that puts our graduating class of me, you, Sam Weber, and Jared Stebbins to shame.
I don't know. We could hold our own. All right. Anyways.
Quick, who's the Reiner of the group? of us four.
They might listen. I don't want to be mean. It's the Christmas season.
That's fair. Okay. All right. Reiner, that's not a slight. I like Rob Reiner. So.
He's in an episode of Forky on Disney Plus. So.
Oh, I think I didn't see that one.
Take that for what it's worth.
Okay.
All right, Michael Lembeck. Back to Michael Lembeck. 24.
We have covered this before because he did direct the second one, so I'm not sure how much. I mean, you're welcome to go through it again, but I remember he's done a lot of TV work.
I probably made the same exact joke where I said one of your favorites, the Tooth Fairy.
You did say that joke because I just listened to the episode 2 days ago. Yeah,
that seems
Tooth
fresh
Fairy.
In my mind. 24 episodes of Friends.
Tooth Fairy related content. Whatever he does, he has to get a Tooth Fairy in it. Which is a little bit hard when you're directing episodes of 2 guys, a girl, and a pizza place.
But not impossible.
Not impossible.
Well, we can skip on to the writers. Ed Dechter, 24 credits. And I guess that he's writing partners with John J. Strauss because they both did Something About Mary, Santa Claus 2. I don't know if they both did Santa Claus 2, but they did Something About Mary together, and they had a lot of crossover credits.
Okay.
But one thing that Ed wrote that John did not was the new guy, and I know you love the new guy.
We did talk about that.
Yeah, that must have been a conversation we had with Santa Claus 2 as well.
I don't know. I know we've talked new guy. Watched the new guy. I think my sixth grade birthday party. So I was 12.
I think you always wished you could have been the new guy somewhere. Like you had this dream that you would go to a different school, leave everything behind you.
I would not say that that's inaccurate. I would not say that that's wrong. You're probably right. I've always kind of physically tried to emulate DJ Qualls as well. So
it sounds like I'm dying, but I'm just getting over a cold. If anyone's listening, sorry.
Yeah, a cold. All right.
That's why we're doing this virtually.
That's right.
I'm not done.
Yeah. Okay, more. Okay.
This debuted November 3rd, 2006. I was surprised it was that recent, but I guess it all makes sense.
4 years after the second one, and the second one was like 8 years after the first one. They spaced these out kind of poorly, I would say. But
well, especially for the characters. We'll get into that. Rated G, runtime an hour and 37 minutes. Budget. Let's talk budget.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
This is really interesting.
Go ahead.
So the budget for this film, $12 million. I have the comparisons for Santa Claus 1 and 2. Santa Claus 1, $22 million.
Yeah, 2 was like 100, right? Wasn't it?
2 was 65, is what I have.
Okay.
But still, that's a lot.
Still. Yeah.
So the third one, they're like, just, make
they're
some
like, you can make it, but it can't cost more than 15. It is funny, though, that, 65 at 100... This was probably a more compelling point if it was 100. But the fact that this only cost 12 and the last one cost 65 is interesting because they look to me they look the exact same. This one might even look better than the second one.
I was going to say it aged, I thought, well for graphics.
Yeah.
Besides Martin Short's hair, opening weekend.
What's wrong with his hair?
It's wild. All right, opening weekend, $19 million. That is in comparison with $29 million and $19 million for the first two films. I had a note here, was beaten out by Bo Rat for number one.
That's wild. I don't know why. It's wild, but these movies being in the theater at the same time just seems... I feel like they're from very different points in my life. This facing off against Borat is very interesting to me.
and it lost. Gross, $84 million. The other two, $139 and $145, respectively.
I got 110.
That's worldwide. I was doing U.S. and then worldwide.
Yeah,
but 110, 172, 189. So obviously,
all hits.
Yeah, if you spend $12 million and you get 110 back, that's pretty penny right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Got a couple short things of trivia. There was some chicanery going on in the trivia of this IMDb page.
A lot of nonsense.
A lot of nonsense. And a lot of people not respecting the nonsense because there was 21 out of 52 people found it interesting. So you can't fool IMDb fans. No. This is the only Santa Claus movie where head elf Bernard does not make an appearance. David Krumholtz.
The film is lesser because of it.
Absolutely. Wasn't available. Since his numbers schedule conflicted with timing. Because of this, the script was written with Curtis having taken over the head elf role. I read something about there was a scene where they were trying to bring him in at the end, but it ended up getting cut. So, despite Bernard's non-appearance in the film, there's a novelization that uses his character. And I wrote, there's a novelization of this film?
Gotta get my hands on that.
Oh my goodness. Not only is there a novelization, there's also a tie-in video game that was released November 1st, 2006 for Game Boy Advance. So,
what would that be? I mean, there's a Home Improvement game, so I
remember in my Game Boy Color days, there was a Toy Story game that was...
What was that like last year?
No. It was kind of like, it would be like Mario type game, side scroller, jump over things, whatnot. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's like that. I don't know.
Okay.
But not only did this movie get a novelization, it got a video game. Unbelievable.
Well, wasn't the novelization written by? I got nothing.
Yeah.
Move on.
You can tell you're rusty, huh?
Yeah, forget it.
All right. Tagline time?
Yeah. Let me pull those up. It wasn't for lack of effort, but for me, the taglines just never really came together. I went with quantity over quality, so I have 6.
Oh my gosh. I just did 2, and then I have the 2 that are actually tied to the film. So, I guess just fire off a couple, because you got a lot.
Let's go with the real ones first. Give me the real ones.
His time at the North Pole is about to go south.
I'm going to ask that you do the thing that we've done in the past.
His time at the North Pole is about to go south.
Jordan, I'm going to ask you that you do it a different way, where you go, the Santa Claus 3.
So the Santa Claus 3. His time at the North Pole is about to go south.
Thank you for playing by the rules. I actually think that's a good tagline.
It's good. Ready for the next one?
Yep.
The Santa Claus 3, the escape clause. 'Twas the fight before Christmas.
Not bad. I got to say 2 for 2.
Are we going to do this for all of them?
Yeah.
All 6 of yours?
You only have to do 2, so I don't know. What are you sweating? I'll go ahead and start. The Santa Claus 3. He's making a list and checking it thrice.
That's not bad.
Thanks.
Just no one says thrice.
Yeah, it's not real. Yeah.
Do another.
The Santa Claus 3. A holly jolly Christmas? Clearly you don't know Jack.
I mean, there's not. I don't know. I think you're being hard on yourself.
Well, those might be the best 2, so don't
all right.
give me any awards yet.
So can I do one now?
You may.
The Santa Claus 3. This Christmas is about to get frosty, and I don't mean the snowman.
I like it because it's concise. I'll read my really long one next.
I have a longer one.
Oh my gosh. The Santa Claus 3. They've done the jungle. This Christmas, Martin Short and Tim Allen are heading north. Way north.
I'm gonna die. Man, did you read a novel?
They've done the jungle. I mean, you're obviously going to use that as a tagline because everyone remembers Jungle the Jungle.
I mean, I was thinking about it a lot during this film.
Yeah, how could you not?
Oh, man, unbelievable. Read me another one.
The Santa Claus 3. This Christmas, the claws are out.
Goes back to the fight thing, right?
Yeah.
All right. Here's my last one. The Santa Claus 3. To recapture the Christmas spirit, Santa will have to go back to where it all began.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. You got 2 more, right?
Yeah, 2 more. The Santa Claus 3. Better bundle up this Christmas. A freeze is coming. A frost would have been better. I don't know why I wouldn't say a frost is coming. Not a lot of thought for that one. Last one, maybe the least. The Santa Claus 3. Naughty versus nice this Christmas.
I just feel...
Let it rest on your tongue a little bit, get a good taste, and then let it go.
Yeah, it's like a poem. You have to think about it for a while. I feel like you had something with the naughty versus nice, but I don't love the execution.
Yeah, well, once you have 5 and you're just kind of adding that 6th one...
you're just kind of throwing in a sentence. Another phrase at the end.
I think this is one time where I'll give it up to studio execs and say I think they bested us.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
I mean, you had a couple good ones.
Yeah.
I guess we were. My only good one was quite long, so I don't know.
I gotta be honest though, like we've come up with taglines for 2 Santa Claus movies before this and other Christmas movies. So at a certain point, you do kind of run out of ways to spin it.
Yeah, that's a lot of Christmas. I mean, did we do "I'll Be Home for Christmas" as well with Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
Yes, we did.
Oh my gosh! All right. Well, the Santa Claus 3, as you said, we're not going to be spending every second going through the walkthrough. Maybe
speak for yourself. We open. No, a couple things I want to say before. This movie is 12 minutes shorter than the previous Santa Claus, and I would say it feels 12 minutes. It feels 20 minutes shorter. It's brisk, Jordan. It's a brisk film. And
I think it works for it until the end.
All right, we'll get to that. Last thing. So, opening scene there at the school. Did you know Abigail Breslin? Did you recognize her?
Yeah, immediately.
So she's Spencer Breslin's little sister. But her and Alan Arkin, who plays Principal Newman's father in the movie, they were both in Little Miss Sunshine this very same year and both nominated for Oscars. So imagine going from Santa Claus 3 to an Oscar nomination. Probably felt a little bit different.
Yeah, that's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
You ever catch Little Miss Sunshine?
Who else is in that? Is Steve Carell?
Steve Carell, okay. Greg Kinnear. It's I think you'd like it.
I think I've seen a part of it, and then I wanted to finish it, and it never happened. So
get back to it, Lee.
I guess so, but now I got to start from the beginning.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
Life is hard. Life is hard.
All right. Yeah, that was all I wanted to say. No, I'm happy to get into this movie, and Jordan, I'm just gonna tell you something right now.
Okay.
Conventional wisdom via the critics, via Rotten Tomatoes, via our own Twitter, is that this movie is worse than the Santa Claus 2 and that this movie is worthless. I kind of enjoyed it.
You're just going to start with it, huh?
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed it.
I thought...
I had a good time.
I thought I had
I'll just say it!
Just admit it. Just admit it. I had a good time until maybe the last third of the movie, maybe the last 20 minutes or so. Whenever you do time travel, it's just tough, especially in a kid's movie. And you started to get a little bit too much Martin Short, I think, towards the end.
Okay,
so,
the bloom was off the rose, you might say.
A little bit. And also, I had heard a lot of Martin Short recently because he also voices the Cat in the Hat in the cartoon.
That's on you, pal. It's not on Martin.
No, that's on my daughter. But I do like Martin Short, so I'll put that up there. I'll say that. I'll admit it. Will you admit it? Can you admit that, Adam?
You know, historically, you've been more of a Martin Short fan than I have, but a couple things have happened of late. He adopted me, so I was
I was going to say, did he come to your house?
A couple things have happened. I found out he's my dad. No, I watched the morning show on Apple TV with Steve Carell. Yeah, it is good. It's very interesting.
I wanted to watch that, so I might have to dive in.
Yeah, I think you would like it. It's different. But Martin Short is in it, and he's just in a couple episodes, but he's really, really good. And not just like zany good. Like he's like, I just really, really thought it was a good performance. I think he got nominated for an Emmy for it and such. And it was the first time I've thought, this guy might have something. Because I've never seen Three Amigos.
So good. You would like Three Amigos.
I should watch it. And, I've seen him around, and usually it's just like, okay, he's just being so off the wall. But I watched that, and then I watched this, and I found him pretty funny in this. So I think I'm turning over a new leaf.
Oh, finally. Like you said, I've always liked him more.
Long story short, I think I'm a fan of his.
Another short pun?
Yeah.
Wow, you're on fire. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I will say about Martin Short that I have just realized is that he's a pretty good singer.
You talking about the scene in this movie where he's
singing North Pole, or whatever?
Yeah, and that's funny, too.
It's pretty good, but also, again, the Cat in the Hat, he sings a lot. Okay. And I was just struck that he's a very talented man. So, Martin Short, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the pod.
Martin, if you're listening and you ever come to Milwaukee, I would love to pick your brain over a cup of coffee. And a cheese curd.
Cheese curd. Ooh, you're going to sell them. Can I? It was an interesting way to start the film because they do. You mentioned it, right? You got Principal Newman at the beginning. They do kind of a like, here's how it happened. She's like in a classroom teaching elves or something, and they're asking about. Are they asking about the baby? I don't remember exactly what they're asking about.
Which is a little bit personal.
Well, elves, they don't know boundaries.
Yeah, that's true. North Pole, anything goes.
Anything goes there. So that's kind of the framing device. She is telling the story of what happens.
I gotta say the framing device is kind of pointless, though.
I don't know exactly why. Do you think if Jack Frost tells the story, we get a different version? Because
I like that version more.
You might.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like felt kind of like it was padding or something. Like, I don't know. You could have just jumped into the plot, and then at the end, she's still, spoiler, goes into labor and like
pop out the baby.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like,
but then you don't get Abigail Breslin in there.
And it was very nice to see her. Yeah, it was always a pleasure to see the Zombieland 2-star Abigail Breslin. Yeah,
definitely maybe star.
Definitely maybe was in Definitely Maybe for sure. Yeah, I like that movie. Yeah, so that is the framing device. I had a question, and from the framing device we do jump into the plot proper, but how much time are we to believe has passed since the second one? Because she's up. She seems to really be struggling. How long has she been away? I couldn't really tell. Because I feel like on Wikipedia I read something like 10 years or something, but it can't have been that long.
I was thinking like
maybe
4 or 5, but maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tricky because elves don't really age.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I'm looking right here.
I feel like Charlie isn't that much older than he was in the last one.
Well, it's because he's not in real life, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just couldn't really tell if it's been... It would make sense if it was like a year or something, but I just couldn't really tell.
Are you leaving again? See you later.
No, I got something going on behind me. Sorry, not as practiced. This is pirate radio podcasting. So that was just the question I had, was how much time has passed, but we don't know.
Yeah. So we're popping in to the plot, and they're basically doing like dry runs of what they're gonna do when Principal Newman goes into labor, and it's not going well. Not really going well at all. And she's just feeling isolated in general, and everything's really busy. And then we get the legendary council that meets.
Yeah.
They knew that they had to come to the North Pole because Santa's so busy right now at this time of year, right?
Carol feels cut off, which again, I don't know how long she's been there, but, it's funny, in the second movie, she's so stern and stoic, and she's like kind of a badass, and then in this movie, it's really a different person.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if they, maybe you wondered if the people that wrote it didn't watch the second movie, or maybe lost track of the character a little bit, because in this one, she's so different. It would have been nice to see some of that Principal Newman toughness. Or just, also sad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say her just like drawing the line somewhere or whatever. But.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess she tries to, but I was also sad to not see Charlie repelling in this film. A lot of repelling in the second one. We didn't get any of that in this one.
Yeah, I mean that's why it got 17% or whatever you said. No repelling.
Probably a 30 if it has some repelling scenes, right?
If you asked me, I was repelled by the lack of repelling.
Yeah. So she's preparing for her birth. Santa's busy. Curtis has been promoted. Man, I don't like Curtis.
Oh man, I wrote down Spencer Breslin really struggles in this film.
I know it's a sad thing because you always feel bad because you criticize. Cute kid actor gets a little bit older and it just doesn't work anymore. And the same could be said for Charlie, but this movie very smartly doesn't really use Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie's in there for like 2 minutes. Spencer Breslin, however, is in there for a lot of minutes and just
he's talking much,
and he's like trying really hard, and it seems like his arms are flailing all the time. And I know that he was much more likable in the second film, so I think it's one of those like maybe he was overthinking it,
maybe that's a generous reading. You want to watch like disparity of two actors. Watch the scene where Martin Short tricks Spencer Breslin into like telling him about the snow globes. Might as well have been acting up against like a paper bag. Poor kid, he just couldn't do it.
Oh man, yeah. That's what I was when you were mentioning earlier that the film really hurts for not having Bernard there. I guess Bernard can't be there because if Bernard's there, he's not getting tricked by any of this Jack Frost crap, right?
That's true, but you could still have Bernard there and have Curtis get tricked, I would say.
You think so?
Yeah, but he's filming Numbers, which I've never watched an episode of Numbers, but I would assume maybe they're using math to break into banks or something. That's my understanding of it.
Gonna have to ask all the Number fans out there.
Well, I thought you were starting a Numbers podcast. There's a funny line, one laugh I had, and it's early on in the film, where Tim, what's his name, Scott, is like, I don't know. He's got the whole movie. Basically, he has like a million people just kind of standing around him. Every scene, there'll be like 50 elves, and then he's got Carol, and he's got Curtis and stuff. And he's talking about how he's nervous to have a kid because it didn't go very well the first time around or something. It's a pretty good delivery. I'm not doing it justice, but it's basically like what I just said. But it was funny. I don't know if you caught that one.
I don't remember that. I didn't write down any lines necessarily.
Yeah.
But I did write down farting reindeer. What are we doing?
Well, that's been a mainstay. There's no Comet though, and there's also in the second one they tried to establish Chet, and I didn't see Chet hide her hair at Chet.
I heard his stupid laugh
in your dreams.
No, yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, that there's just some table setting in the beginning. There's having a baby. Christmas is in jeopardy per usual.
We get the legendary figures meeting, and Jack Frost is trying to get some more recognition because everybody else has like a holiday. You know, you got Easter for the Easter Bunny, Valentine's Day for Cupid. I guess Father Time doesn't have one, and Mother Nature doesn't really. But Jack Frost is a little salty, frosty maybe. And so they're going to discipline him, and he kind of like talks himself into community service at the North Pole, basically.
Well, it's that line we had in the beginning where it's like he got busted for like infringing upon Christmas by
Merry Frostmas.
Putting cardboard cutouts of himself in various areas and stuff. You know, the problem is there's just too much overlap between Santa Claus and Jack Frost, let's be frank.
Yeah,
asking for trouble.
Yeah, it's tough when you're Jack Frost. You gotta kind of take a back seat to the whole Christmas season.
I had to look up who Jack Frost was, like what that was grounded in. I didn't know if that was a real thing, but seemingly it is.
What?
Jack Frost.
You didn't think it was a real thing?
I mean, I wasn't aware of the fictitious. Well, whatever you want to call it. Is it fiction? Is it an old wives' tale? I wasn't really familiar with the tale of Jack Frost, as it were. Were you?
I mean, there's a specific tale. I just know, like, he's a part of that season, Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
Yeah, that was just kind of all I knew was the part of the song, though. You know, it's, I don't know.
What's the story? I want to hear the story.
All right, I'm going to Wikipedia right now. Forgive me. My computer did not get any faster during the
It slowed down. It used to be working out every Friday. Now it's...
Okay, he's a personification of, frost, ice, snow. A variant of Old Man Winter who is held responsible for frosty weather, nipping the fingers and toes in such weather, coloring the foliage in autumn, and leaving fern-like patterns on cold windows in winter. Starting in the late 19th century literature, more developed characterizations of Jack Frost depict him as a sprite-like character, sometimes appearing as a sinister mischief maker or as a hero.
He's kind of like Loki.
Yeah, a lot like Loki.
Real trickster.
Always getting in trouble, showing up when you at least expect him to. But yeah, I just didn't know any of this, so I was kind of coming in with a fresh set of eyes to the Jack Frost character. But I tell you what, you say sprite and you say kind of mischief maker, and that's Martin Short to a T, my friend.
Mischief maker, I would say so. Yeah, I do think they cast him really well.
It does not work. This movie is nothing without Martin Short. Even if you do get sick of him in the end, like, this movie does not work without him.
No. You know who it might have
Imagine
worked?
DJ Qualls in that role.
I don't want to. One person I could have done without, which is hard for me to say because I like him in many other things. Alan Arkin did not like him in this film at all.
Well, we're not quite there yet, but...
okay, so basically, Santa, to help with his wife's struggle with just feeling alone and the baby and missing family, they bring her family up, which is Alan Arkin and
Margaret.
And then they bring
Grumpy Old Men fame.
Yes, of course. I love that movie. And then they bring up what's his name? Judge Reinhold.
Yes.
And what's her name?
Neil and Laura Miller.
Neil and Laura. So yeah, everybody's up there. And then we get Lucy as well. Is Lucy new? Is she in the second one?
No, Lucy was in the second one. Yeah, she's in the second one.
She did not make a lasting impression on me, apparently.
She doesn't do much in this one. She plays a pretty big role in the second one.
Wait, Lucy doesn't do much in this one?
Yeah, I didn't think. She does more in the second one.
I feel like she's pivotal in this movie, so...
Well, it depends on how you define pivotal, I guess.
All right, well...
Maybe the reason I liked the third act was I didn't see it. No.
I guess so.
Yeah, so Martin Short gets sentenced to... He's supposed to get in trouble, but he does community service and helps out at the North Pole. I'm just trying to summarize things.
Santa needs more people to look after right now.
He needs help. He's. I guess you could kind of say he's off his game this year. That's kind of what we're hinting at. He's really scattered. Meanwhile, Newman, whose first name I can't remember, she is having a hard time. She's lonely. Despite it, she says he's kind of absent. Despite the fact that every time she calls for him, he's there immediately. I'm not sure what the problem is.
He's just not there long enough. He's there superficially, because then he's got some other fire going on. Most of them, started by Jack Frost.
Could you say that maybe she knew what she was getting into when she married Santa Claus?
Well,
Could I be any more jelly?
Wasn't there like a very quick turnaround that she had to make the decision on?
Incredibly, but she did say yes.
Well, you got to be in it. I think it's just one of those years, you got the hormones of the pregnancy and Christmas. It's just all a lot at once. Jack Frost is not helping either.
Better Jack Frost. Michael Keaton in Jack Frost or Martin Short in Santa Claus 3?
I seem to remember that movie, that Jack Frost was a little creepy to me.
Went to see that with some elementary school friends around Christmas time. Expected to have a lot of fun. That movie is about a dad who dies and comes back as a snowman. So we didn't have as much fun as we anticipated with that one. Kind of a bummer movie. I gotta go Short.
Yeah, I would say so. He's very memorable to me.
Yeah, he's good. So they trick Carol's parents into going. Yeah, the plan is to bring the parents up there so she won't feel so alone. Alan Arkin and Margaret. They trick them up there. I think. What is the sleeping legendary figure's name? What's his deal?
Sandman.
Sandman, yeah. He puts them to sleep. They bring them up there. But the big trick is that it's Canada. They've never been to Canada, so as soon as they get... I
like this, actually.
You like... See, okay, I only thought that it was okay to maybe just sort of stupid.
That's why I liked it. I thought it was just stupid.
Everybody says... they have, some hot cocoa, and I think they're all wearing, Canada stuff, and everybody just sort of says A at the end of everything. Mm-hmm. It wasn't terrible. This is very much a children's movie, through and through.
Yes.
So when you get laughs, I guess you take them where you can get them. That's the interesting thing about these movies, is I feel like everyone becomes more and more G-rated, to me.
Yeah, the first one was so superior.
Basically rated X.
What was that?
You don't like Arkin in this.
No, I thought he was annoying, and then at the end, his reaction to learning... I mean, also, besides them being up at Canada, they can't learn, obviously, that Scott Calvin, is Santa, and so at some point, they figure it out, and Alan Arkin's reaction just seems so fake to me. It sounded terrible.
I think he should have been nominated for an Oscar for this as well. Dual nominee. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think Alan Arkin is great in this movie, but I was just happy to have him. You got to understand, in the second Santa Claus... I was
happy to have him, but then I was disappointed.
Did you like him better in this or in Going Out in Style, the bank robbing movie that you saw?
Oh man, that was terrible.
I don't know. I was just happy. I know he's not very good, and I think the role is underwritten. But I'm just happy to have Short and Arkin here. A couple titans. But I see your point, Jordan.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was just disappointed. I expected more from him. But you know who I loved having in the mix as always?
Who's that?
Art LaFleur.
Yeah.
It's always good to have the Tooth Fairy in the mix.
Not too many lines. Got a real dark-haired dye job, I noticed. His hair did not look like it was any kind of natural color. But, yeah, I like Art. Art and Tim got to be close, because he's given Art a lot of opportunities over the years.
And he was also in another movie we covered, Man of the House, right?
Yeah. Was he? Sounds familiar.
Now you're making me second guess.
He's in The Replacements, the Keanu Reeves football movie. I always remember that. Yeah, so we're moving forward here. Everybody's up there. There's a really funny scene with Anne Margaret and Martin Short where, like, he introduces himself because he's trying to start trouble. He's talking to different people. He's kind of stirring the pot, and he gets her to sing Jack Frost, Nipping at Your Nose.
He just gets her to say it over and over again.
She wants to keep going. And I don't know, him getting her to agree to sing was just kind of funny because she kind of didn't want to. And then he just has her keep saying the lines over and over again. And then at the end he says, "Would you like to be my elf?" And she says, "What?" Like, he says, "You heard me." That's my favorite line of the movie. I thought that was really funny.
It was
good
timing.
Funny. Yeah. So.
Do you think that was improv?
I kind of think it was. There aren't a lot of other lines.
It's a really weird
line
for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's a little bit darker than the rest of the movie. Yeah, so dumbass Curtis reveals the titular escape clause. Basically, like...
You have to go find a snow globe and say, "I wish I were never Santa."
Yeah,
it's a very specific snow globe, not just any snow globe.
Well, the "I wish I were never Santa" thing is pretty on the nose. Not like any magic where it's like, say exactly what you want to
It's not like There's No Place Like Home. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, right. It's lacking, I guess you could say it's lacking any subtlety. Snow globe room, new one for me. I guess it's just a
Lucy's all about it.
She loves snow globes. Do you think Tim Allen's good in this movie?
I actually think he's pretty good.
Okay.
I thought he was likable. Like I when I was watching him compared to everybody else, I was like, okay, the two people that I could watch more of are probably Martin Short and Tim Allen. That's about it.
Yeah. Principal Newman doesn't have much.
She's fine. They don't try to do anything special. Actually, I take that back. The third person I could watch more of in this film is Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, I know. He's only in 2 scenes, and they're both really good.
Oh, man. You can tell that he just relishes playing this, like...
Doofus.
Doofus of a character, and it's really funny.
Yeah, I could have used more out of them in this one, frankly. Because, well, it's funny that they're even in it, because they serve zero purpose. All right, so Frost, he finds a snow globe room, and he's got his plan is in motion. And for whatever reason, Wendy and Neil end up in the snow globe room, and he freezes them.
Okay, well, Lucy...
Go ahead.
Lucy's there first.
Okay.
And she, like, screams, basically, and then they run over there, and he freezes them, and he's like, "Get in the closet, or else I'll freeze you, too." Which I guess he should have freezed her. His mistake.
Yeah, he blew that. I don't know why he didn't freeze her. I guess maybe they thought it was too dark for a G-rated movie, but locking a little girl in a closet's pretty serious business, too.
Well, it's one of those closets just... Well, I guess that wasn't one of the closets just, like, turn and open or whatever. Yeah, it's just like a janitor's closet.
Real closet apologist over here. I know you treat your daughter.
You should see the closets we have at this place, Adam.
I bet they're huge. A lot of walk-ins. What do you think of this Red Deer machine that they're giving a lot of play to?
I mean, it wasn't funny.
No, it wasn't.
No.
But they show it a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting that that's what they pick to be, like, the inner sanctum, secret room, whatever. Yeah. I don't know, why not just make it in, like, Santa's room or something?
Yeah. Arkin and Margaret are up there, as we said. You know, it's a little bit strange watching Tim Allen kind of have to... the relationship between son and father-in-law. And Tim Allen's a little too old to be having to play that with Alan Arkin. It just kind of struck me as a little bit false.
That is a good observation. I didn't think about that, but yeah, the whole dynamic really between the whole family, because at this point...
They seem more like peers, like Arkin and Tim, you know? Like
yeah, I mean, at this point, like, everyone's 40 to 45 minimum.
Oh, you know? Tim Allen's probably... 2006, he's probably 55, I would say.
Well, yeah, but they want you to believe that they're...
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
that age.
True.
So it's not like they're 20.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, it shouldn't... that kind of nervous son-in-law thing doesn't really play when you're in your 50s, I don't think.
No. But, yeah, there's some of that. But, yeah, as you said, snow globe stuff happens, and Jack Frost gets... Basically, he's alone with Santa, and is kind of telling him all the bad things that are happening. And he's trying to be that shoulder to lean on, and he ends up getting Tim to say, "I wish I never were Santa," or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And he's holding the snow globe.
Yeah.
And then I thought this was funny. Jack Frost hugs him.
Yeah.
Because apparently whoever's hugging the person who says it goes back in time with them.
I guess you got to attach yourself to him or something.
I don't know. Whatever. So it was just kind of funny seeing Jack Frost clutching on Santa for dear life. And they go back in time, and they go back to the very first Santa Claus movie.
Yeah, this OG footage.
OG footage.
I kind of like I like this part, frankly.
Frankly. Did you like when Martin Short smacked Santa with a shovel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
You live for that. So, yeah, Jack Frost gets the coat, and then the fabric of time just changes.
Yeah, do you think the science in this is, do you think this could really happen?
Time travel movies are, they're just, it's tough, especially in a kid's movie, I guess.
Well, they're just counting on you not thinking about the logistics too much.
Right.
Yeah, so he's, I guess what happens then is Scott is in present day 2006,
right?
Having never become Santa Claus. Little bit of a Scrooge vibe here, I would say.
Yeah.
And then we're to assume that Martin Short has been Santa Claus since 1994. So Scott's life is pretty bleak. He's a lonely businessman. He makes his employees work on Christmas. He has no family. He ends up going back to Wendy's house, and her and Neil got a divorce, and everybody's life is for the worse because Scott never became Santa Claus. Jordan.
Mm-hmm. It's also kind of It's a Wonderful Life vibe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
everything changes. So he has to go up to... He hears basically that the North Pole has turned into a theme park of sorts. Mm-hmm. And so he goes up there on the North Pole Airlines or whatever it's called, and he's going to make things right.
Talking about Frostmas?
Frostmas? Is that what it was? The airlines?
Yeah. Well, he changed Christmas to Frostmas.
Oh, no. I was saying there was specific airlines that went directly there too. So. Oh,
yeah. This is how they've always forecasted, we're going to be taking vacations to the moon.
Mm.
I remember you used to always talk about that in high school. You're like, someday I'm going to be taking my family to the moon. And you really were prideful of it.
Yeah. Boy, the egg's really on my face right now.
Because you're not even close to going.
No, I'm not even remotely close. Although I do live close to the Space Coast. Just an hour away from Cape Canaveral, so.
So, what did he name the tourist spot? Is it just the North Pole as the tourist spot?
I thought it was just the North Pole or whatever.
Okay. Frostmas is just what he's calling Christmas. It's
This is when I think it gets goes downhill for me, this part of the film.
I would say it's like a circus. Everything costs money. It's like all of the terrible parts of theme parks, which I think most parts are terrible. Jordan, you have a soft spot for them. You've structured your whole life around living close to one, so obviously you like them more than I do. But yeah, it's very a lot of capitalism. It's very much he's kind of the king there, and
kids are greedy,
adults
annoying.
Are fighting over stuff, and he sings North Pole, which he has a beautiful voice, as you said. The plot here does kind of go out the window, though, I would say, at this point. If it was kind of linear, and I don't know, I'm not going to say that it was I'm not going to say realistic, but if it was following a linear sort of coherent structure, it kind of loses it at this point for me, and I kind of don't really know what's happening. I feel like rules are sort of made up last minute and stuff, but yeah.
Especially when they go back to time travel again. That's when it's what's going on? Yeah. So somehow Lucy's up here and Neil are up here because that's what they do every Christmas now or whatever. and they don't recognize Scott, or they hate Scott. Don't recognize him. They hate him.
I don't think she does. She know him.
She kind of does, but she's like, "What are you talking to me?" Because they've probably never had any conversation. So while all this stuff is going on, I mean, Jack Frost and Scott have had a couple interactions, and so he's got a couple security guards watching him. He basically gets Lucy to go to the snow globe room and grab a snow globe. So plants her like a little mole, and then he creates a distraction. At some point, she, oh man, I hated this part actually. There's like a pen that records.
Yeah, where did this come from?
So like when he first gets to the North Pole, they're like selling all this merchandise, and one of the merchandise is this pen that records your voice.
Yeah, you gotta like set that up at the beginning of the movie or something. Otherwise, it's
just thrown in right here.
Yeah,
And as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, yep, this is how this is gonna end.
Yeah, that was pretty weak. I gotta agree with you on that. Otherwise, it's a perfect movie, except for that. Though.
Otherwise, 99.9% perfect movie.
Yeah, almost there. Chekhov's pen.
So, Lucy throws the snow globe into Jack Frost's hands. He catches it. He plays back the voice of Jack Frost saying, basically, he didn't want to be Santa.
How did he get that recording? They
were talking. And he was recording what they were saying, and he got him to mockingly say, like, I'm not going to say I, never wanted to be Santa.
Obviously, it's a much too complicated of a movie for me to follow.
Well, you were just having such a good time. You didn't want to think about all the logistics.
Between that and the wings I was eating, I was in hog heaven, frankly.
And they go back in time again, but that's not it. Because you still got to make sure you put on the coat. But instead of putting on the coat, another Scott Calvin arrives, and it's the original, footage from the first film.
Yep.
And Jack and Santa are fighting, and Santa wants the original Santa to put on the coat, or Scott Calvin to put on the coat. Successfully does so, and Jack Frost loses. And they go back to present day, and everything is just as you wanted it to be. And then you kind of get, you mentioned like a Scrooge vibe, and we mentioned a Wonderful Life vibe. You also get a, what is it called? Oh boy. A Christmas Carol vibe here, where Santa is like, I'm so sorry, and I miss you all so much, and they're all like, it's been 2 minutes, and they don't understand what's going on. Because right before this happens, like, everybody's fighting, right? Like, Scott Calvin's fighting with his wife and his in-laws, and the elves are in a disaster, so.
I might also say that there are some sort of Groundhog Day comparisons to be made, because, like, when Scott makes his way to the theme park, Martin Short is like, has it been 12 years already? Because, we're to assume he's, like, lived out the full amount of time since. And then, at the end here as well, he, like, returns to present day, and it's like no time has passed, but, to him, a lot of time has passed. So, just a really smart movie, I guess I would say. Yeah, on par with the greats. Yeah.
The movie's not over yet, though, because guess who's still frozen in the closet?
These special effects, I don't know if you noticed how bad, like, the quote-unquote frozen bodies of Wendy and Neil were. Yeah. It was probably some of the cheapest looking, like, it looked so bad.
And when, Martin Short's face, like, turns blue when he's getting ready to blow on people.
It looks really bad. I didn't think the movie looked that cheap until they brought out these, and then they have, like, a really bad cut where, like, they're thawing, and the $12 million budget really shows at the end of this movie. But he's not able to unfreeze them, though. Not right away.
No, not until he has to thaw himself, which he would cease to be Jack Frost.
You had to go through something similar around season 2 of our podcast in order to continue. You had to unthaw yourself just to sort of.
What was I like season 1 versus season 2 through 8?
Well, real dickhead, if you want to be honest.
Real battle axe.
No. So the only thing that, and again, where does this logic come from? I don't know. The only thing that can thaw Jack Frost is a hug from Lucy.
Okay, my wife had something to say here because I said, like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
Like, why is that the thing that works? Yeah. She said that it had to do with some snow globe that was given to her earlier by Scott.
I remember that.
To which I said, what?
Okay, here's what I thought. There are a couple of moments where they do try to sort of set something up with her and Scott where he's like, you'll have your moment, or like someday you'll have your, because she wants to be like him and sort of have power. Mm-hmm. And I thought we were getting a setup where she's going to be like the next Santa Claus. That's kind of what I thought we were doing. Instead, they sort of go half measure and they do this. I like the scene when he unfreezes, because when he unfreezes, his clothes and his hair change, and he looks like a little boy going to church.
Yeah, it was interesting to see him turn from
looks like
Jack
a marionette
Frost to
puppet or something, you know?
Yeah, Martin Short can pull that off, I'll tell you what.
You didn't like his Jack Frost look overall?
I thought he looked fine overall.
You didn't like his hair, though?
He just, it's a lot going on, but I thought it was fine for the movie. Yeah. But yeah, I did not like his transformation by any means.
Yeah. So at this point, the Canada ruse is kind of dropped. Alan Arkin is cool with it, and Margaret never had much to do anyways. Christmas is but 2 minutes away.
Don't worry, he'll take care of it. All the legendary figures came and helped out the elves with all the disasters going on around the factory or workshop or whatever you want to call it.
The other legendary figures don't serve much purpose in this movie. Kevin Pollak is like Cupid for about 2 seconds, and I think Kevin Pollak's funny, so that was a bummer for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like he had some weird lines that I didn't understand going on. So
you also seemed a little confused by this movie. We just might not be sharp enough to take in this kind of cinema. So yeah, at this point, Carol goes into labor. This movie very much makes the choice about 20 minutes in to completely bail on the Carol is lonely and Carol is, struggling, Scott's not around. They just, completely forget that idea until the very end of the movie where she goes into labor and they're like, oh, yeah, we need to try to figure this out again. But it's kind of funny.
I disagree
I felt
with that
way. Okay, go ahead.
Because they were all fighting. That's what leads up to Scott Calvin being like, I don't want to be Santa, is all the fighting with the in-laws and with her. Yeah. Because she's lonely in the way it's going, their relationship. So I don't know if I agree with that.
But then at the end, how is it? It's
it's certainly everything turns around pretty quickly. I will say that.
That's what that's kind of. Okay. I guess they bail on it, and then they don't do anything to sort of, he sees an empty life, and he's the businessman. But then we're back to reality, and everything is just sort of
everything wraps up very quickly.
But I would have liked to have seen more commitment to that. I felt like the Carol character deserved a little bit more, frankly. Yeah, so it's Christmas time. Got to deliver some presents, and Carol goes into labor.
Oh boy,
labor pains. I might as well call this Labor Day. All right, babe.
Can we say welcome, buddy?
So back to present day. This wraparound device that I'm not sure why we need. She's back at school. And Scott walks in to reveal their baby boy, Buddy. Did you see the trivia about this?
Yeah, it made me so mad, because this is what I was talking about, was somebody just screwing around.
There's no way. Well, we should say what it is. Someone in the trivia said that this was an obvious reference to Buddy the Elf from Elf, which it came out 3 years before. They're not doing that.
And luckily, 60% of people said, no, this is not right. So
also, that wouldn't even make sense, because he's not Santa Claus's son. So, roll credits, fade to black. The Santa Claus 3, the escape clause. 'Twas the fight before Christmas, Jordan, and I gotta say, are we gonna fight about our thoughts about this movie? Give me some highs and lows, big dog.
Highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. Lows. Farting reindeer, Alan Arkin, unfortunately. Spencer Breslin really struggles throughout the film, which is unfortunate. So some pretty poor performances, but I didn't write down any specific lines, but I think I agree with you that I did think that Tim and Martin Short, big heavy hitters in the movie, and I think they carry the movie and make it watchable at the very least. I didn't love the time travel logic, nor Lucy thawing Martin Short. Does everybody have to be redeemed? I guess so. It's a G movie. But
seemed like it in this one, yeah.
Yeah, everybody has to be redeemed. what are my other highs? Like I said, I thought the first 2/3 of the film, the quicker pace and how it was progressing, I thought it was fine. Like I thought it was going fine, and then the last 20 minutes or so was like, oh, this is brutal. So whereas like our Twitter poll, people were like, this movie needs to burn in hell, basically.
Yeah.
I did not feel that way watching it. I was like, oh, I looked at Andrea and I was like, oh, this isn't that bad, actually. Maybe that
I thought it was going to be absolutely horrible.
Yeah. One of those expectation things, maybe, too. You go in thinking it's going to be terrible. Really love Judge Reinhold in this film. Really do. He's probably only on screen for 8 minutes, but he plays that fool very, very well, and I just laughed pretty much the whole time he was saying anything. So, shout out to Judge Reinhold.
Court is in session.
Court is in session. I don't know. What else you got?
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you said. I definitely went in thinking this was going to be awful just because of what people had said and the critic kind of consensus and stuff. And I definitely didn't think it was awful. I think it has some things going for it. I've maybe been embellishing a little bit how much I liked it. I did have a good time watching it though, so I'm not gonna say that I didn't. It's fast-paced, 92 minutes. Probably in reality it's under 90, I would say, by the time you're getting into it. I like that. I think Martin Short's is really good. I think it doesn't work without Martin Short. I think Tim as Scott is pretty good. Maybe I would have liked more. I wish we could have spent more time with him sort of as the sad businessman, kind of doing that Groundhog Day kind of thing. I think that could have given him an opportunity to maybe flex his acting muscles a bit more, but it's a short movie. But I think he's solid. I like Judge. I liked Arkin better than you did, but I'm not going to say that he was given a ton to do. But I was just kind of happy to have some established actors in this movie. So I enjoyed that. I did laugh. I probably laughed more in the third one than I did the second one. I think there are more laugh lines, largely because of Martin Short. The plot itself, I don't think the time travel stuff is a bad idea. I think much like you, it's working until right around when they get up to Frostmas, and then the snow globe plan with Lucy and the pen. Like the pen thing is where they lose me, and I think there's maybe about 2/3 of a coherent, enjoyable movie, and then at the end it really sort of loses its way. Could have been longer. Honestly, they could have spent a little more time and maybe earned the ending. But the ending is wrapped up with a nice little bow on it. There are definitely some bad performances. Curtis, poor kid, just Spencer Breslin, it didn't work anymore. Who else did I not like? I never really liked the Legendary Figures stuff. I just sort of felt like that was turning a Christmas movie into, I don't know, something entirely different, just more slapstick than I want. But I know that without that, you don't get Jack Frost. Definitely some lowbrow jokes. It's very much a kid's movie. Some of the scenes don't look very good. I highlighted the section where they have to thaw out Wendy and Neil, and it's about the worst looking thing I've ever seen. But on the whole, I don't know. I had a good time. I liked it, but I think I like it better than the second one. And
I was going to say, I think probably would be a little bit better than the second one, actually.
The second one is long and annoying. And that evil Santa gets too much play, and it's real saccharine. I don't know. I just, for whatever reason, I got more out of this one.
Plus, you never like to see Charlie go bad.
I could have used more repelling for sure. This film was smart.
Rebelling and repelling.
Indeed, yeah. This was smart to have him in about 2 minutes of screen time, about 2 scenes. I don't know. It's a fun little movie. I don't imagine I'll watch it again, ever. But I'm glad to have seen it once.
Just wait till you come down here. I'm going to make you watch it with me. Live commentary.
You have a projector set up in your attic, and it's just always playing this. I remember. And the attic is where you're gonna make me sleep. You said. Why
do you remember that? Because you've never been here.
It's a joke. It's a joke, Jordan. Maybe you take some comedy sports classes like me. You could riff a little better.
I have a quiz for you, Adam.
Go ahead.
It's a pretty easy quiz, but I just want to throw it out there.
Okay.
It's part of a trivia, but
okay.
There are 5 people slash characters
Yeah.
who have been in all Santa Claus films. Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Do you know who they are? Can you name all 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a problem for me. Tim Allen.
Correct.
Judge Reinhold.
Correct.
Wendy Crewson.
Correct.
Okay, this is where I gotta think a little bit. Because what I'm thinking... Curtis isn't in the first one.
I mean, you're missing one obvious one.
Oh, one obvious one. Who's in the... Oh, Charlie, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the 5th one.
The 5th one. This is like trying to guess the 5th Beatle that dropped out. Pete Best, I'll tell you that much. Okay, let me think here. Who... Is it... It's not obvious?
It's sort of a curveball.
Okay. Scott. Who is he? Is it a doctor? Peter Boyle.
That's correct. That is the curveball.
Yeah, because he's like a boss in the first one, right?
Right, and then Father Time and Santa Claus 2 and 3.
This
Congratulations!
His last on-screen performance I read, which,
Tough way to go.
Yeah, no, I've seen better, I've seen worse ways to go out, I guess, but he went out doing what he loved, being dressed as Father Time.
That's quite a fivesome right there.
Yeah.
You could build any sort of movie franchise with that.
Peter Boyle's good. I wish that I don't know, I wish they could have done more with him in any of the movies, but Jordan, what a fun quiz that was.
I knew you could do it.
Alright, I have some questions for you. Do you want me to ask them now, or do you want me to go through what the critics thought?
Let's quickly get through the critics, because they're going to really bring us down.
Alright, Variety's Justin Chang said, The Santa Claus 3 was a much cleaner, more streamlined ride than its overstuffed predecessor. Chang said, Michael Lembeck directs the action with a surer touch and more consistent tone than he brought to Santa Claus 2, and effortlessly pulls off the pic's sentimental, life-affirming moments without tugging too hard.
I felt like I agree with the review until the end. I didn't feel like it was super sentimental, honestly.
I'm not sure the sentimental stuff works for me as much. I mean, the first one, it works. It's fantastic. Sure. And then I feel like every movie, they lose a little bit of it. Other reviews. Derek Adams, Time Out. You've got to hand it to director Michael Lembeck. He succeeded in persuading studio bosses to let him make not one, but 2 sequels from premises that were dead on the water from the word go.
Ooh.
Savage. Jane Borsaw said, magical, if mindless, family holiday fun. That's probably where I stand.
Magical, if mindless.
Yeah, that's
I wish
fair.
people would write that about my stuff.
Yeah, well, they do.
Good.
Don't.
I just can't find it on the internet.
I describe you as that way to almost anyone I meet.
Thank you so much.
Magical but mindless. John Puccio, it's sad to see the life sucked out of a movie series that started so well. The last one, Frank Lavici of Film Journal International. Short skill and total commitment to his role make him no straw dog villain, and his chemistry with Alan helps the movie Santa feel like a real live person and not an I'm going to skip that word. It's not going to work for me. Icon. Some kind of a word that I can't pronounce and I'm not going to stumble through on air. And I tell you what, even I struggle sometimes, Jordan. 39% audience score, 17% tomato meter via the critics. So definitely not one that critics or audiences like, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it's rare that we're kinder. Do you like... Well, maybe this is one of your questions, so maybe I won't ask it yet.
Okay.
Go with your questions, unless you have more critics reviews.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Question 1. Question 1. Do you have your pencil ready?
Yep.
What would a 4th Santa Claus movie look like?
You know, I kind of left this movie wanting a 4th one.
In my mind, I don't know why it wouldn't happen. You just throw it up on Disney Plus. Like, I can't imagine anyone that was in these movies would not want to be a part of it. I feel like people would really get excited about it.
Yeah, I think they would. They're putting out, like, Noel and Godmothered and stuff, and I think this would be, like, more exciting.
I've seen some of the Christmas stuff they're putting up on Disney Plus, or even Netflix for that matter, and a lot of it is really, really bad. I think just by having Tim Allen in a Santa Claus movie, it's got to be better than at least Noel. Noel's terrible.
Yeah, you're drawing some eyes. I would say maybe it's time for Santa to retire or something, and we got to find a new successor. Hopefully not Spencer Breslin. And
Spencer Breslin, he has to cameo in the fourth one.
Give me Bernard back.
He'd do it.
I don't know. I mean, I think that would make it pretty easy.
Retiring.
Yeah, basic plot.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Like retirement, maybe recast Charlie as like an adult. Paul Rudd, maybe. Just kidding. Paul Rudd would never in his life do that. But yeah, he's got to let's say he's got to hand the Santa belt, the sack, down to his son, and I don't know if it's a villain or
I think fight between Buddy and Charlie.
Oh, his name would be Buddy. Yeah. Whoa, Buddy. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Buddy and Charlie. It would have to be Buddy. Huh.
Would it?
Well, they'd probably make up some clause we don't know about yet. I would urge the fourth movie
to step away from the clause.
Well, let's just keep things more simple than we have the last two, with the clauses and the rules and the time travel. In many ways, what makes the first movie enjoyable is it's a pretty straightforward premise. A guy,
you put on the suit, you're Santa. That's it.
Yeah, and that's it. And he's got to figure it all out. Less is more. So if we could get back to that, I think that would be great, and I would definitely be excited for it. So I don't know. I feel like it can happen. It's got a shot.
I don't know if anyone's calling for it. Is that the problem?
Well, I got two guys here. Two guys make it happen.
I mean, with our listeners, we can start a movement.
Generosity movement. All right. Now, Jordan, we have to rank all the holiday movies we've covered.
Okay, can you give me a list of all of them again?
Yeah.
I assume you have them written in front of you.
I don't, but I'll just do it. Santa Claus 1, Santa Claus 2, Santa Claus 3, Christmas with the Cranks, I'll Be Home for Christmas, and I think I'm missing one. El Camino Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only doing the ones with like Tim Allen or Home Improvement character, not Christmas Baby or any of that stuff.
Oh, what, Christmas Baby?
Christmas Prince, whatever.
Oh, that was a good one, though.
You did like that.
Boy, I struggle to remember some of these. Like, I barely remember I'll Be Home for Christmas, but I think I remember not liking it. So that one's probably at the bottom for me.
Okay.
And then I would say El Camino Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then is that just the Santa Claus ones left? Oh, then the Cranks.
Crank. When we reviewed Cranks, we said it was one of the worst awful movies we've ever seen. So I would be surprised.
I would probably do Cranks then. And then I would do Santa Claus 2, 3, and then 1.
Okay. All right. For me, Cranks, dead last. I'll Be Home for Christmas. El Camino Christmas. Santa Claus 2, Santa Claus 3, Santa Claus 1. I think you are underestimating how bad Cranks is.
I've seen it more than the other ones. Maybe I just love Frosty.
Maybe you just love Frosty. Me, Dan Aykroyd, the Blues King of Chicago.
Who doesn't love Dan Aykroyd?
Thanks for ranking me real good, Jordan. Free Frosty. That's all the questions I have.
Oh, you made it sound like you had 6.
No, just 2. You
didn't want to go for 2 hours.
No, you got a question for me? You said you had something you wanted to ask.
Did I already do that? I think I did. That was the quiz for you.
Oh, and what a quiz it was.
And what a quiz! I was going to ask you, what are we covering next year?
What's left? This was like kind of the dangling one. Well, of course, who could remember? Who could forget that Tara Noah Smith was in A Christmas Diary?
Isn't there a second Christmas Prince movie?
I'm not doing any more of that. I don't like that stuff. I don't like that stuff is like not fun for me. It's too bad.
It was pretty rough.
I would, if we could find something that somebody from Home Improvement was in, even if it was like a Christmas episode of something. This was the obvious one that was still kind of dangling. It's sort of surprising we were able to get so much mileage out of the Christmas stuff. Home Improvement alums have just done a lot of Christmas adjacent
Tim
work.
Specifically.
Maybe Tim will make another Christmas movie or something.
Did you hear how Last Man Standing ended or whatever?
It's about to. This is the last season, right? So that'll be good for him. I mean, not financially, but maybe he can do like some halfway decent work. No offense to you LMS fans out there, but I feel like that show's been kind of holding him hostage from better stuff. But
yeah, they'll open him up for the Santa Claus 4.
Yeah,
Or
Santa
Home
Claus
Improvement
4.
reboot.
Well, he's doing that. I mean, I don't know, depending on what we want to do, but the next thing we would probably want to do would be an episode of that Karn Man, Tim Allen, like, Fix-It show.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's not enough Karn Man and Tim, though.
Only one way to find out, Jordan. I'm not saying we're gonna do it, and I'm not saying we're not, but I'm just saying that's an idea. But as far as Christmas goes, we got a year to figure it out, and I will spend the next year thinking about it in sort of
Each
ways.
day you've already dedicated 2 hours, is that correct?
I have a 365-day advent calendar, and on it I'm just brainstorming.
It's the weirdest advent calendar of all time.
It's really big. It takes up a whole wall, and my house isn't as big as yours, so yeah, that's.
I guess
precious.
you better write small.
I do. Well, Jordan, man, it's good to be back here. I miss doing this.
Are you in the festive spirit now?
Feeling about the same, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I'm definitely getting there. I'm getting there. When Santa Claus 3 was finished, it rolled right into Santa Claus, the first one, and that's a real good movie. That's so much better. The difference between, like, in our rankings between Santa Claus 1 and Santa Claus 3...
the gap is huge.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. That's a great movie. So I'll try to watch that this year.
I do remember the question I was going to ask you now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you like... So, Martin Short, Tim Allen, a duo we've covered before in Jungle to Jungle.
Yeah.
Do you like Jungle to Jungle better or this?
That's a tough one, man.
I feel like I like Jungle to Jungle better than you did.
You definitely did. You were a huge fan of Mimi Siku.
Love Mimi Siku.
You made me buy you that shirt that said "Free Mimi Siku."
Why did anybody lock him up?
Well, there's a misunderstanding with that tarantula. He put it on
Matika. Say his name.
Matika.
Or her name.
He put it on some high-ranking government official, and you can't do that. Probably like Santa Claus 3 better.
Wow.
I don't know.
It's funny to see you come around on Martin Short, finally. I remember you hating on him so much in that movie.
Oh, well, if I did, then I was definitely wrong. I never feel like I hated him. I just didn't appreciate him like I should have. And now I'm championing him from the rooftops.
Seems only right. Let's do Three Amigos next.
That would be fun. I would like to... I'm not sure. Yeah, we can put that... We can do whatever we want. We're done.
We should say...
Yeah, what do you got?
So this is going to come out Christmas Eve.
Yeah, baby.
The plan for 2021 is to start releasing some of our Patreon-only episodes. So just because Christmas is over and 2020 is over doesn't mean you've heard the last from us. We're going to be starting to put out some of those old episodes, so hopefully you enjoy those as well.
I should visit Twitter real quick before we sign off here. I forgot to do that. Out of practice, I guess.
Oh.
Poll. Which is better? Did you look at this? Do you know what the results were?
Yeah,
Santa
I
Claus
did
2?
see
Okay.
this. I
Santa
saw
Claus
some weird DMs, so I had to get on and see what you were doing.
Up to no good per usual. Per usual, brah. Which is better, Santa Claus 2, Santa Claus 3? 82.5% said the Santa Claus 2, 17.5% said the Santa Claus 3. I disagree with it, but
We both disagreed with it.
We both disagree with it. Phil Severin ranked them 2, 1, 3. Phil, you lost your damn mind.
What? 2, 1, 3?
Yeah, who likes 2 better than 1?
It's just like they pulled numbers out of a hat.
What is this, the lotto? Danny J said 3 is the worst, should have never been made. Tell that to the studio execs that lined their pockets with $100 million. Sarah Short said, no contest. SC3 is just awful. I mean, what's 2 then? Like, if 3 is awful, what would you call 2?
Subpar. That's what they're calling it.
Anthony Hefner, I would be remiss. He really misses us. He really wants us to come back. He's always asking us what we're going to do next. Are we going to come back?
I was going to say, does he have any ideas?
He wants us to do Toy Story. We never. The funny thing is, we never even talked about doing Toy Story for Patreon, and that's the best stuff that's out there for Tim Allen.
I would do Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I would make you watch a Forky episode as well.
I mean, if that was over the course of a year, yeah, sure.
No, I'm not saying like back to back to back to back.
Yeah. I haven't seen the original Toy Story probably since the 90s, so I would be, I'd be down to cover that.
My daughter loves them, so I watch them a lot, and it was one of my very favorite series growing up. So
okay, cool. That's a possibility, Anthony. Hey, we miss you too. We'd be happy to. We'll come back. I don't think this is it. I think we'll. As long as we can sort of casually pop in with these episodes from time to time, it'll be...
Listen, I'm paying for the hosting. I might as well use it.
Might as well use it. And we don't really have much to say outside of talking about Tim Allen. So, as far as us staying in touch with...
If we don't do podcasts, our friendship dies.
It's getting there. Yeah, it's getting there. We'll be back in a couple months with something. So stay tuned. Stay subscribed. Follow us on Twitter. Not going to be tweeting much, but if I do, you want to be ready.
Yeah, have a special alert on your phone if you can do that.
Put a Google alert on Home Podcast next episode. You'll get very little.
Every once in a while, I'll Google Home and Podcast to see if we've made any news outlets. Still hasn't happened.
Yeah, it might be a thing where we gotta die, and years have got to pass before we get our just due. It could just be one of those things. I sort of think that's the way it's gonna work.
Well, I definitely put Home and Podcast in my trust for my kids, so at least the money will stay in the right hands.
You said you were going to put it in your trust for me.
Well, I assume you're going before me.
I'm going to buy you out. What was I going to say? Well, yeah, it has been fun, Jordan. I did miss doing this in all sincerity.
It's been a great Christmas gift that you've given me.
And you, me, thank you so much for listening,
I will
everyone.
say that was one... Sorry, that was the funniest thing that Spencer Breslin did, was when he was like, help me help you, you help me help you.
Oh, I didn't like that at all.
Oh.
It felt like I just could see him trying so hard.
Yeah, that was the hardest part.
Yeah, I just could really see him trying so hard, which is sad, but also just, you don't want to... Anytime you can spot the acting happening, the magic isn't really there. Mm-hmm. And like that critic said, it's mindless magic.
But mindless.
Magic but mindless, just like our podcast. Well, we hope you all have, this coming out on Christmas Eve. Have a great Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. Hopefully you're in a room alone, away from your family, listening to this.
No, share it with everyone.
And have a safe holiday. Have a happy new year. Jordan, thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for listening. Merry Christmas and take care.
Take care, everybody.